Hello and welcome to the South Wales Wedding Podcast by Music HQ. Each week we lift the veil on one of South Wales' leading wedding suppliers and get to know the real people behind the business. Over to you, Suze.
Hello and welcome to the South Wales Wedding Podcast. I'm Susie Aston.
And I'm Ryan Aston.
From Music HQ. And today we have Aberdare's answer to James Blunt, dad of twins, writer of love songs, his mother's favourite singer, 4 times best man and all-round lover of romance. He was once described as Westlife, if Westlife were a solo act. If Westlife were bought on Wish. His songs are on so many wedding playlists that there's a strong chance that even if he's not invited to your wedding, you'll be listening to him. Please welcome the wonderful John Adams.
Yay! I've been really looking forward to this podcast, mate. Really looking forward to
Lower
it.
your expectations.
That
was all my good stuff in the intro. That's pretty much it we covered.
We've been chatting a lot just off camera, and I feel like there's some really good stuff there. And Sue's touched on the fact that you have twins. I wouldn't mind just starting there.
I do. That's my new identity.
Oh, yeah. I know, it's terrible. But
Twin
what an amazing thing. What a blessing, I think.
It is. I guess all parenting is a unique experience, but it does feel a bit extra unique.
Yeah.
You can do little social experiments because they're genetically identical. Yeah.
What's the names?
Willow and Robin. They've got long hair. And people are never sure whether they're boys or girls. So the question they always ask is, what are their names? And we say Willow and Robin, and you can see them thinking, that didn't help me at all.
Pretty unhelpful. So they're completely identical.
They are completely identical, but they're 3 now, and they're just starting to have their own different personalities.
Do you have to dress them differently
Just
so
feed
you
them
know?
the same. Just feed them the same. No, do you know, I always thought that people dressed twins the same because he was cute. But what I've realised now is because if there's any minute difference, they kick up a fuss. That's the real reason.
Of course.
Yeah. So if one pees themselves and you have to change their trousers, you've got no choice but to change both pairs of trousers.
Is that right? Honestly?
Yeah, because they'll want the other pair of trousers, or the one that's changed won't be happy because he wanted to keep the old pair of trousers.
Yeah.
There's lots of kind of little situations that you didn't consider when you have twins. Yeah, we did the potty training last week, and one was ready and one wasn't. But you've got no choice but to do it at the same time because you can't be giving one treats for going to the toilet and the other one wondering, well, what about me?
Yeah.
So there's lots of little considerations that you didn't kind of think would crop up.
God, it's amazing. How do you tell them apart?
To us, they are different.
Yeah.
But when I look back at pictures, say they're 6 months old, I can't remember what the differences were then.
Yeah.
So I do get to see them
Which
then
one's
as
this?
identical as a stranger would, which I think is quite interesting.
Thing as well.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Yeah. So, John, you are, a wonderful singer. And we champion quality here at Music HQ and community over competition. So glad that you are here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Were you on The Voice?
I was on the X Factor.
The X Factor.
Long
X
time
Factor.
ago.
Tell us about that.
Ago. Well, I think people presume that I went on the X Factor to become a musician. But I wasn't a musician at the time. Me and my wife were both teachers. I think we were just at that age where we were just wanted to try new things and experience things. And I think, well, my wife went in the Big Brother house.
Did she?
Yeah, they do like a 6-week trial of the Big Brother house.
Wow.
Where they put in 12 contestants. They test out all the cameras, all the games, and all the sounds and stuff they make. And then they are the replacement 12 for the actual Big Brother house. So that when they go in as new people, at least they're in a comfortable surrounding that they've been in before.
Wow.
So she went in for that kind of span, and we did Deal or No Deal, Britain's Got Talent, X Factor. We entered Mr. and Mrs. Wales. She won it. I got through to Mr. UK, and I won Best Smile in Mr. UK.
It is a good smile.
It's a great smile.
I felt like the chubby one. This one, Best Smile.
He's got a lovely personality.
Tell us about that X Factor experience.
So I went on there just to learn more about it. My wife auditioned as well, and we can both just sing a bit. I think we'd sung one karaoke maybe in Turkey.
Yeah.
So I wasn't kind of setting out to be a musician. And I went on there. The actual year I was shown wasn't my first attempt. I went on it the year before. I got to the last 10 boys, and 5 of them were One Direction. I was in the other 5. Yeah. I think if I'd shaved that day and looked a year younger.
Well, that's like setting fire to your lottery ticket.
Yeah,
It's all right, though.
That
You're
is
here
a
with
bit of
us
a sliding
today.
door. Yeah.
But now look at me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who's laughing now?
Living the dream in Port Talbot.
Yeah. But So then the show asked me to come back the following year. And I thought, well, if I can get this far without any effort, I'll do a couple of open mics and all that kind of stuff. So I did have a little bit of a practice then before I went back. But they kind of, they came to film me teaching before my audition. So I kind of felt like I was already one of the favourites and I was already through.
I'm in here.
And the first audition went really well. I sung Cannonball by Damien Rice, and that went back into the charts in a higher position than when it was first released.
Thanks
and
to...
that was the first time it was ever done in chart history.
Wow.
So because of that, then I had kind of lots of like Radio 1 stuff that I probably didn't deserve for like where I got in the competition. And then Little Mix won that year, and they released Cannonball as well because of the success earlier on because of me. So I felt like even though I only got to the end of the boot camp stage, I actually had more publicity than what it warranted.
At the time, were you young and like desperate for the win, or
I think that's the reason why I became one of the not favourites, because I wasn't desperate.
Right.
They were kind of saying, "What does this mean to you?" And I was like, "I'm not setting out to be a musician. I'm a teacher. Like I've studied for 4 years to do this career, and I also like didn't back myself in terms of like when I win this, I'm going to become a musical artist. I was literally just doing it for a good time. Like people always say, like, weren't you nervous? And I wasn't, because it didn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah.
But I guess I would be nervous now, even though I'm kind of much more skilled.
Did you know that I did Pop Idol?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, I was going to bring it up, but I knew you would too. So
I'll just drop that in. No, but it's the same thing. I think I was.
Was it the Rivals year or the year before?
Well, I think. Was it the year or before or after? Similar to you, Girls Aloud got formed.
Okay.
But I don't know if I did it the year after.
The head of my record label was in One True Voice. Matt Johnson. Remember him?
The name
really
does
young.
ring a bell. Michelle McManus won my year.
Okay.
So, but yeah, but it's that thing as well. If you're not playing the reality TV game and you're a bit cool about it, but also being young and just fearless, I would never do it now. I'd be terrified to do it now.
Yeah, probably.
But when you're young,
they wanted me to pretend I didn't have a girlfriend, so I became a bit of a
sex symbol,
and I just felt like I was stupid and I wasn't really entertaining all that kind of stuff.
Best smile symbol.
Yeah. And I guess just the focus wasn't on what I wanted it to be focused on, and I was just kind of a bit nonchalant with it. But yeah, I felt like when I went to the boot camp, I was definitely one of the favourites. You can tell kind of how much the producers pull people for chats and to do little silly games and stuff like that. And then I felt like I did my first performance. It was in Wembley Arena. It was when they went live, and I had a standing ovation. And then when it came to like reading the results, Gary Barlow like looked at the paper and he said, "I'm not reading that." And he kind of stormed off for a bit. So the arrogance in me presumes that it was because he didn't want to vote me out.
Yeah, roll with it.
And then he did come back and read the results out, and I went home. And I kind of thought that because of that, they just wouldn't be able to show me. Because how can they show a good first edition, standing ovation in the second one, and then you're not getting through? So I didn't think they'd show me. And then a couple of weeks later, they rang and said, "You're going to be on tonight's show." And then it went really well. I think I was like Bookie's favourite to win it for a while. But of course, I already knew that I was voted out. So yeah, it was a strange old experience.
How did that feel? Like,
I guess like there was part of me that was like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm a teacher. I never set out to be a musician. But by this point, I did kind of have the bug a little bit.
Yeah, of
And now
course. Why wouldn't you?
It felt like I don't have a music career without the X Factor, because I had no kind of no other stuff to do. So I went back to teaching for a while, and I thought the X Factor thing would make me cool within the classroom, but it was quite the opposite. It was just a distraction. I'm trying to teach algebra and they singing Cannonball like this in the back. And so I taught for about 6 months after that, and I kind of thought, well, it's now or never really. If I want to do this kind of music thing, I'm going to have to kind of quit and go for it. And I didn't know what to do, so I just went busking. And I used to go busking every week, different cities, and then I'd pick up gigs, and then wherever them gigs were, I would busk before the gig, and that's kind of what kind of fed me for a while. And I think that was a good way to learn your craft. I always think like if you can stop people when they aren't really out for live music, then when you play into people who have paid to see live music, it's going to be much easier. But it was good. I think it was a way that, I guess when you're in front of an audience, you know this, you have to kind of cater all your music to fit that audience. Mm-hmm. But when you're busking, you do whatever you want to do, and the only people that stop like it. So you're kind of building like a custom audience to yourself. And I think that was a good way of kind of establishing myself as a musician, because I'd perform like 4 or 5 hours. You could repeat songs and say the same things and just learn kind of what worked and what didn't. And like we've had some exceptionally good busks. I think when people think of busking, they see my hat on the floor and me blasted out of BY's windows. But But they became kind of like more like street performances. Like sometimes we do it with a band and we'd sell CDs and yeah, it was really good. I still do some busking now and I really enjoy it. I think that's probably my favourite part of the job.
Really?
Yeah.
Without fast forwarding too far, I want to speak about where you're at now. But one of the things I do want to speak about is you're one of the few people that seem to balance being in, I suppose, a cover band, a wedding band, and doing original music. Do you want to just speak on that for a bit?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, I realised I needed to not perform publicly, regularly. Because why would someone buy tickets for a show if they could just see me in every pub across South Wales?
Yeah.
So the main reason I got into weddings in the beginning was to just separate that really. And I thought I'll keep them as two separate things. I'll have a wedding band to earn a little bit of money, facilitate my original music, and that'll be a completely separate thing. But I feel like over time, like people whose weddings we've done are coming on the original tours, and then people are also liking your original music, choosing it for first dances, then booking you for weddings, and now they've just smashed together really.
Yeah.
I'd say about half the weddings we done last year was original first dances.
Amazing.
Which is quite nice.
That's brilliant.
If that doesn't speak towards there being no beaten path to any kind of success,
Yeah,
that's
I think
it, isn't it?
And I've had like some meetings with like record labels and managers, and the first thing they want to do is kind of stop doing the weddings things because it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Well, not cool anymore. They don't consider it cool.
Yeah.
And I just think they're missing the point really. I think the first thing you need to do is like, you know, I made a decision when I quit teaching, I wanted to do music for a job. First thing you got to do is just earn a living, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I guess you feed your little kind of egos and challenges after that point. And yeah, the weddings was kind of really crucial and really vital to just having that kind of base, that platform and feeding the twins.
But there is that stigma. And I don't know if it is so much anymore because I know certainly some of the musicians that we work with in Aston Band, they play for Kylie Minogue, James Arthur, like Ryan, yourself, like Imelda May, Lighthouse Family, big artists. Everyone does function bands, and actually, the weddings and functions often pay better money than the big name gigs.
Yeah.
So I just think, you know, the record labels need to.
Yeah, it seems like the record label would rather you work in Costa.
Exactly.
And
then get good at your craft.
Than actually performing to people for 2 hours a night, maybe 3-4 times a week. But also I think, like I do lots of songwriting, my own songwriting, and I write for other people. And I think the reason why I'm a good songwriter now is because I've had to learn 3 or 4 songs a week that people have connected with.
Yeah.
For their first dances.
You understand the formula.
Yeah. You kind of spot
you
the
understand
patterns
those 3
and the chord
chords.
progressions and the melodies. And I think that's kind of all my grounding for kind of writing songs today. I don't think I would have learned that many songs if it wasn't for first dances.
And not just that, it's the being able to communicate with an audience, like speak.
Yeah.
So singing is one thing, but speaking
bits,
to an audience is a completely different skill that not many people have. And I witnessed you live last week, and I thought you had your chat down, didn't it?
She did chat down,
Doesn't shut up.
Very good.
There was a famous singer at a gig once, and he came to watch me. We were supporting a band called Tapau, and he came to give me some feedback afterwards, and I was really excited to get his feedback. And he said, just be careful that the in-between the songs isn't better than the songs themselves.
Is that what he said?
Oh, how did you take that?
That a few ways.
That was a
Good
compliment.
news,
Same as the Westlife thing. That was in a review. And I think that was a dig. I think that was a dig. Yeah, Westlife if Westlife was solo. But I love Westlife.
I love Westlife.
I love Westlife. My mother loves Westlife. Yeah.
And you're our favourite singer. So.
Dare I even ask this question? What was your first gig that you went?
What was my first gig? Well, because of the X Factor kind of story, my first gig would have been X Factor. And then I felt like shortly after X Factor, I was doing gigs that I wasn't ready for.
Okay.
Because you'd thrown straight into like a firework display at Straddy Park where there's like 30,000 people watching you. Like, and I don't know how to engage 50 people at this point, let alone people that are right up in the crowds. Yeah. So, my first gig, I'd say my first proper gigs then were busking.
Yeah.
Right.
But, it wasn't, I think it was about kind of 2 years of busking, and then we put on an album launch. I funded the album through busking, so we called it The Pavement Is My Stage. And that was like the first sold out show that I had. And yeah, that was really, really good night. Everything went really swimmingly. And I got back to the car and someone had broken into my car.
Oh, God.
Stolen my mixer. And inside my mixer was 2 Bruno Mars tickets for the next day. And because they were standing, I couldn't get them reissued. So I missed Bruno Mars and went to watch Meet the Fockers 2 in the cinema. And it was one of the most anticlimactic moments of my life. And now I feel like I don't want to see today's Bruno Mars in concert. I want to see the doo-wops and hooligans Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
And I'll never get to see that because someone stole a mixer that they probably can't use.
Do you think they even found the tickets? No.
Probably just threw it
wasted.
in the bag. They were tucked in a bag.
That would have been a great gig. What was the first gig you went to?
First gig I went to. I'm
Not
from
Bruno
a place
Mars.
called...
Not Bruno.
No, not Bruno Mars. I'm from a place called Camaman, which is the same place as the Stereophonics were born. So when we were young, it was all Stereophonics.
Right.
So I was going to Stereophonics gigs before I should be allowed at gigs, really. No Ear Defenders back then, we were just hardcore as well. So I think the first gig I went to was Cardiff Castle Stereophonics.
That's a pretty cool one, isn't it?
Good
Yeah. For one of their music videos, they just invited everyone from Camaman out in the street. They just performed in the street, so I'm in that music video.
Another claim to fame.
I once had a pee at a urinal with all the members of the Stereophonics.
Who was packing?
This podcast is brought to you by Music HQ, the largest and dare I say loveliest provider of live wedding bands in South Wales and the South West. So, get in touch and chat with one of our wedding music experts about your big day. Now on with the podcast.
What music do you listen to? Obviously, if you're not learning the lyrics of the songs, if for choice that you want to listen to, what have you got on the radio? Or
I like country music. I think I like anything where the lyric is the kind of focal point. Mm-hmm. I think...
Are you able to remove yourself from listening to music in an analytical songwriter
I think
way?
so. I think I'm quite an emotional guy. And I think music still moves me.
Yeah.
I still look for them songs that just kind of move me a little bit.
Yeah.
We went to Country to Country Festival a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
In the O2. And it's just I feel like it's really like family orientated, because I think you can take every genre and put country before it and create a new genre. You can have country rock, country pop, country folk, country
house.
songwriter. So there's something there for everyone. Yeah, country house. And like you look around the audience and there's 13-year-old boys enjoying it with their motorcycle dad.
Yeah.
Then you've got the mums who've come together, and it just feels like a real family form of music.
And I guess lots of stuff you do these days is family.
Yeah, it's all family. Yeah, I really like Blippi.
I like Bluey.
Yeah, that is one of the
Bluey's
questions.
good.
What do you get to watch on telly? But I guess you're in it at the moment.
Yeah, we just coming out of Peppa Pig.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. Season what?
Into Ben and Holly.
That cliffhanger at season 23.
He's in the Ben and Holly phase.
We've got the parties coming up, the twins party, and they're dressing up as King Thistle. What a terrible
I love that
fancy
episode.
dress.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a beard, crown, wings. Terrible fancy dress. Having a Ben and Holly party. So
If it's not kids' TV, what are you watching?
it's not kids' TV. Again, I want to be moved by the TV that I watch.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a show called This Is Us. Have you heard of This Is Us?
No.
It's fantastic. Do you know, nothing happens in it. There's no kind of there's no twist. It's just a dysfunctional family functioning. And I think my parents are divorced. Probably most of the people around me are divorced. And I felt like it was kind of like the family role model I needed. I know it's TV, but I felt like I learned something from it. I watched it when Kelly was pregnant, and the main story is there's a couple madly in love, proper romance, and they have triplets, but one of them is stillborn.
Oh, God.
At the same time, a baby is dropped off at a fire station, so they decide to take all three home. And that's it in a nutshell. But the baby that was dropped off is dark-skinned, so it's kind of different amongst the family, and it just follows their whole life. And it's just really powerful. I was crying every episode.
I mean, we'll have to
Really
watch that. I've never heard of it before. It sounds great.
And it ends with someone in the family dying. And I know it sounds...
Spoiler alert.
I know it sounds stupid, but I feel like it's helped me come to terms with death. It was such a beautiful kind of way they kind of laid it out and what death really means. And it sounds stupid, but I felt like I learned stuff from that TV show.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah, I felt like I learned how to be a dad, kind of how to stick together as a family, how we should be there for each other, how things make people feel on the other side of the story. And I felt like I really learned from it. I thought it was really, really powerful.
This Is Us.
You should watch it.
Right, we're going to have to watch
Us.
that.
The first episode could be a movie. And it's really, really good. So you could just watch the first episode and find out if it's for you. I think it's phenomenal. And it's finished now, so you get to binge the whole
Binge. I
series.
love a binge.
We do love a
I don't want to
binge.
wait. I'm impatient. What about movies? What movies are you into?
We used to be big
Apart from Meet the
cinema
Fockers.
fans, but I feel like I haven't watched a movie for ages.
That's kids right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember when I first bought my music PA to perform at gigs, we set it up and connected to the TV
Nice.
to check it worked. And we watched Taken by Liam Neeson. And
Wow.
I felt like that was a... Do you know they say that you don't remember what people say, but how they made you feel?
Yeah.
I don't remember the film, but I remember feeling, this is an amazing...
Yeah, great choice.
Yeah, we had,
That's
we
a
had
bit of you,
bass
that, isn't
spins.
it?
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
bass spins, FBTs. That was great.
I mean, you're
we had
talking
no
his
furniture at
language.
this point. We had nothing to sit on, but we had a cracking PA in the house.
You bloody love a soundbar, don't you, mate?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to confess.
Have you listened in
yeah.
Dolby Atmos yet?
Yeah, I've got a pretty sick setup at home.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it, but okay, if you insist. No, it's actually, we're lucky we've got a little cinema.
Have you
room.
got any movie recommendations?
What have we watched lately? I mean, we tend to watch stuff with the kids, which we
Yeah.
probably shouldn't actually. I think Ryan put Predator on for our 7-year-old the other day.
Do you know
didn't
what?
he?
Yeah, one thing I have done with our children is kind of like there's been films, classic films, that it's easy to watch all the stuff that's out now, isn't it? But
Yeah.
there's so many incredible films from
Go back in time.
Yeah.
Well,
You do realise that some of them haven't aged very well, though.
No, but
but
we
you know
just
what?
did-
They kind of even that. It's got a little something about it.
Have you watched Jaws as an adult?
yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
like a plastic shark.
I quite liked it still. We watched that with the kids as well, probably inappropriate. But we watched all the Rockies. I hadn't seen the
Rocky's
Rockies.
great. Rocky's
and the
fantastic.
kids, the way
like,
they
I've ne-
reacted to it.
I've never seen them so invested
Really?
in a movie. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
we'll have to show you the video afterwards.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
honestly, it was
Their reaction.
Rocky
unbelievable.
4 almost makes me want to do cardio.
Almost.
but not quite. John, where do you go on holiday these days? Let's say pre-kids, where was your vibe? Because it's probably
Pre-kids?
quite different now.
I think we went to Nashville,
Oh, wow.
which,
Amazing.
because we love country music,
Yeah.
we loved.
I've never been. What was it like? I have to just ask, what was it like?
It is amazing. And I think this is a stupid thing to say. This is really like ignorant. But it was the first place that we'd been on holiday that spoke English.
yeah.
And we're quite arrogant when we go away. We want everyone to speak English. But it was quite nice
Yeah.
that everyone
Home
just
from
spoke
home
English.
vibe,
It was like
yeah.
a home from home. And America is so familiar to us because we've seen it all on the TV and the films that it was quite nice to be in like a familiar space that you'd never experienced before.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we hadn't had kids there, we would have done a lot of America next.
Yeah.
But Nashville's really special. I feel like everywhere you go in the world is starting to look the same, isn't it? You know, they got a McDonald's and a Subway. But I really feel like Nashville's kind of preserved a moment in time
Yeah.
where kind of music was kind of prevalent there.
Hey, that's a great idea for your
I was
big milestone birthday,
I was
isn't
just
it?
thinking that for the 40th.
It's really good. It like you walk down the main street and they've got like little kind of bay windows kind of thing where the bands play, and there's from like 10 o'clock in the morning there's someone playing in every bar.
Wow.
It's really, really good. And we went on this tour bus. So they take you to see the Music Row. Music Row is like a load of houses that you can rent out to songwriting.
Wow.
And that's where all the kind of like the Dolly Parton and Elvis songs were written in those houses. So they take you there, but via there, they'll perform on the bus. So there'll be a songwriter on the bus, and you know he'll be kind of really humble and really understated, and he'll play a song and you think, I really like that, and then he'll say, oh, and that's the song I wrote for so and so, so and so. And Nashville is a little bit like that. It's like it's almost like the coal face of music. I feel the people you kind of experience in are the ones that started the song, but not the ones that have had the fame that come with it. So it feels quite nice to like access that. And since then, I've kind of when I go on Spotify, I try to find the originals of songs that have become famous. You know, like I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. You can see why that is an absolute show-stopping tune.
Yeah.
But then you go back and listen to the Dolly Parton version and you think, oh, that's where the emotion is.
Yeah.
You can see why kind of she's written that lyric. And I like to find the other songs, like the Westlife tracks that were actually Richard Marx. And yeah, I really like that. So that's my hobby, I guess.
Nice. Have you managed to take the kids on holiday yet? Or
We had a wedding in Cyprus. And it was probably one of the worst weeks of my parenting life so far.
really?
Yeah. So another consideration of twins, there's only one spare oxygen mask in each row of seats on a plane. So you can't have more than 2 children under 2 in the same row. So me and my wife would normally tag team, but we were split up for 4 hours, 45 minutes on a plane. And it was awful. It was dreadful. It's just that I feel like the extended legroom seats on a plane should just be the seats on a plane.
Yes.
The other ones are too small, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
The only place I could put them was to put the tray down and kind of put their bums on it. But then as they were jumping up and down, the person's chair behind was going.
But they were loving you.
And I'm quite polite. I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, and I just hated every moment of it.
Yeah, it's
and
that's stressful into itself.
They also weren't at like an iPad age. So it was literally just me making Google Gagoo noises for 4 hours, 45 minutes. And then when we got there, I was asking people for some cow's milk, and it was like as if that didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I went to like the local Aldi's, and you could get this like 15% cow's milk watered down kind of mixture, which meant they woke up 9 times a night.
Oh, no.
Each. Staggering.
Oh.
It's awful. And because it was kind of a hot country, there was like marble floor, glass windows, concrete walls. And when they were crying in there, it was like a cave.
Oh,
it was dreadful. And the hotel was like on 3 layers with a pool on each one. So steps all the time. It was like everywhere you were just wasn't child friendly.
No,
so I just run ragged for a week. And it was like they could get to the pool but not safely use the pool. They were at that age.
Oh.
And we came back and I said, I am not leaving this country until I feel like they can use a swimming pool and they can... Yeah, just like even trying to keep them in the zigzag single file in customs. Doesn't make sense to kids. They want to go that way, they want to go that way. And yeah, it's
stressful. It is, yeah. Like
and when you go through customs on your own,
you
try to make sure you've got no liquids in your bag because you just want to go through as fast as you can. But with kids, you have to have liquids in your bag.
You have to, yeah.
So you just all that rigmarole.
Faff.
Apparently they found drugs on our pram. So they pulled us into this like office room.
I knew it.
They said, is there any chance there's been food spilt on the pram? I'm like, yeah.
Every
and they're
chance.
like, can you tell me what foods that would be? I'm like, easier to tell you what foods would not has not been tipped on it. And then they kind of said, like, this is a serious matter. Can you stop laughing?
Even that's so stressful when you've got twins with you and you're trying to get through customs. Bad
But it
enough.
just feels like if I'd said the right food source, they would have gone, that's it then.
Yeah.
It
Lock
just
him
felt-
up.
It just felt weird.
If you could go anywhere tomorrow, place that you haven't been to, what's?
I've never been to New York. And I feel like you've got all kinds of Central Park and friends.
Yeah.
I mean, what you
Really
spoke
quite
of
nice
there,
experience.
of going somewhere that you've never been, but it being really familiar, New York is it.
I can imagine.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd use like, it feels like completely normal.
Yeah.
Though you've never been there. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Crazy.
definitely.
I've not been
I
to
really like
America at
Italy as
all,
well.
actually. I've been everywhere all over the world. I haven't been to America whatsoever.
Okay,
so
well,
maybe
10-year anniversary is coming up.
This is it.
Let's go.
Your kids are old enough now, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they
as
are
well?
old enough.
yeah.
They do love traveling.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, so leave them in the house though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And they do like iPads.
yeah, exactly. We've been asking guests about a bucket list. Have you got a bucket list? Anything you
Bucket list?
would like to do that you haven't already?
Something I've always wanted to do. One time, me and my wife, we tried to busk around the UK only using the money that we've earned busking.
Whoa.
And it was quite nice because we'd earn a little bit of money and we'd spend it all like it wasn't money. So we'd go to cinema and fancy meals, and we'd get a hotel that was kind of relative to the money. So sometimes we get a really nice hotel, sometimes we're sleeping in a kitchen. And I quite enjoyed that. And we ended up, we went all the way up the kind of one course and back down the other side, and we didn't spend any money. That felt amazing.
Wow.
So I'd like to do that across Europe.
That's
Amazing.
amazing.
That would be a
Something
great
like
vlog, that
But I
one.
thought like we could maybe do it a little bit different, get a motorhome.
Yeah.
What's nice about taking them risks when you know you have got money in the bank to bail you out? I
Yeah.
wouldn't like to do it if you really genuinely needed to rely on that money. But it's quite nice doing it as a little bit of a challenge, but knowing you have got the
That's
money in the bank.
really fun.
I love
That's something I would like to do.
If you won the lottery, would you continue doing what you're doing, or would you be out of here? What would be the first thing you did if you won the lottery right now?
That's hard, that, isn't it? I feel like the only thing stopping me go to the next stage of being an artist and a songwriter is probably investment. So I imagine I could use that investment to do quite well.
Yeah.
You can buy on support slots for someone like James Blunt. But of course, they just kind of completely out of reach without a record label and all that kind of stuff. So probably just that. I would probably do exactly the same, but I would do more of the stuff I enjoy and less of the stuff I don't. Like emails.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it, isn't it? Yeah. It's a hard, so people think you're just
driving.
rocking up
And
to do
setting
the
up a
wedding.
PA. I would never roll up an XLR lead ever again.
The joy.
Really? Oh, I quite
You
enjoy
probably
the
don't
challenge.
anyway,
I
do
do.
you?
Of course I do. How
You want to see
dare
her? She's a beast. I taught her well.
Yeah.
I taught her well.
We have racers in our band. Probably. I always worry as a musician about just securing a future. And I feel like as soon as I had that finance to secure a future, then I could be really selective of the bits I'd like to do then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's hard though. It's not just being a creative and a musician. like you say, all the admin, all the logistics that go into getting there and performing and everything running seamlessly for people is so, it's underestimated, and it's not what we got into as musicians, but it's what we found ourselves doing.
Like shows and backing tracks and...
Yeah, that's why Music HQ is good for our team. Get that in there.
You do all that.
Nice.
We take care of it. Come on,
you do all the bits
Come on, John. Come on board this time. Come on.
Yeah, you do all the bits that potential musicians that could do really, really well are too lazy to do.
But seeing as we are talking a little bit of shop, and it doesn't have to be related to shop, but any pet hates, mate?
Can I say drunks?
Yeah, you can say drunks.
Drugs.
Drunks.
Drugs.
Drugs. Yeah, I don't even like my wife when she's drunk.
Really?
So you're not a drinker, because we normally have a cocktail question.
Okay.
Do you drink?
I love an ice blast.
Okay.
I love an ice blast.
the ultimate cocktail.
And do you know they do sugar-free ones now? So it's like,
It's
zero cal.
guilt-free. I always find like after a big weekend of singing, the ice like soothes me.
Yeah.
And it's nice, yeah.
But back to the pet hates,
Or
because
if you're hungover.
you said drunks there, and obviously in our line of work, you have to deal with drunks a lot.
I think that's probably why I dislike them so much. I just if I knew that if I ate a particular food or drank a particular drink that I become a not nice person, I wouldn't drink that drink or eat that food.
Yeah.
But seems like people are happy to. Yeah, just sometimes you can be at a wedding and it's classy and it's sophisticated and it's full of love. And you can go for dinner, you can come back and it's just a different environment.
Yeah.
It's just, So I think drunks. I've never liked drunks, really. Do you know, like the fighting around town, and it just seems to bring out the worst in people.
Yeah.
People communicate badly, people split up and sleep with people when they're drunk.
Yeah.
It just feels like a bit of a poison, like a society poison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but drink is nice, just drunks.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And there's a bit of a binge drink culture in our area as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, everywhere. Well, this country, I'm not just talking Wales though, like whole of the UK.
And I'm not boring. Like, I went to university and we'd done all the kind of freshers thing, and we drank probably more than we should, like 3 days, 4 days a week. But even just being a drunk, I wasn't that fussed in it either.
No.
Makes you feel awful.
But also, when you got kids as well, don't get me wrong, I am partial. I love a glass of wine and I love a margarita cocktail. We've said this too much on it. I think I'm an alcoholic, but I do. I like, and we're so busy with work and stress, and it's nice socially. But that binge drinking thing, I think I might have finally grown out of that.
Yeah, but if we talk in
Brian
shop,
will disagree.
If we talk in shop, I'd probably go singing waiters.
Oh, pet hate, yeah.
Sound effect.
I'll say what everyone else wants to say if you want.
Tell us why.
I feel like
Nuisances.
you want the music to progress through the day.
Yeah.
You want it to be romantic, tear-jerking in the ceremony. You want it to be classy and sophisticated in the drinks reception.
Yeah.
You want to start your first dance as, now we are starting the evening. You ramp it up until, as the DJ's about to take over, the dance floor is full. Everyone is singing. Everyone's hyped. Everyone's pumped. Macarena comes on. Night's a good one.
Yeah,
From that point
Macarena.
on, you're flying. But I feel like singing waiters, they make it peak at the wrong point. So you've just come after your food. Everyone's up on the chairs. Everyone's singing, having a good time. And then the first thing they want to do is go out and vape. A little cigarette, little calm down. And now we are trying to do the first dance. But then it feels like you need to start again. Whereas it felt like that kind of like anticipation for a party would have still been there if it wasn't for those singing waiters. You were in the first dance, bang, you're off.
Do you know what? I'm going to like...
Yeah, there is an
counter
argument to
it.
that. No,
So-
but there is a reason as well. Go on, you say it.
When you say it.
I was going to say, because we do a lot of dinner music, which is not
We're not singing, we're not pretending to
dissimilar.
trip over and...
Yeah, they aren't singing waiters, are they?
Yeah,
It's just dinner
but I
music.
think the difference is, because obviously it does ramp up during the dinner course. Like we take it up a notch, but it's quite a long time before we play in the evening. And what it does for us is kind of introduces us to them. So that like when we start the party later on, we're already friends kind of thing.
It sort of breaks the ice.
Because you're in charge of both parts, though.
Exactly.
You're still
That's
being
the difference.
responsible with your choices.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yes.
So, like, as a set, you're not going to put Mr. Brightside
There.
first.
Yeah, right, okay,
But
yeah.
if someone else was coming on for 25 minutes before you, they'd be a bit irresponsible with their song choices.
Yeah.
And this is a good point, actually, like using the same vendor, because you yourself, you do the ceremony, the drinks, the party. Here at
Just
Music
keep
HQ,
track
we
of
do
that
the same thing.
progression.
And I just think helps it flow seamlessly. You know when to crescendo, when to like bring it back down. You know what flows perfectly, and I do recommend that.
Another reason is because they had a surprise. They haven't allowed the time for it. So you think, oh, right, they're just on their desserts now, and then we'll be able to set up and we got 45 minutes to set up for the first dance. Bang, that's amore. It comes on. Shit.
Bang, that's amore.
Yeah.
And I also
they love
feel
that one,
like,
don't they?
I also feel like it would be more of a surprise to me these days if nobody dropped a tray at a wedding, because it's happening so regular. Is it really a surprise anymore? Like, should we drop the waiting act and just have singers at that point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because we haven't had anyone else that does what we do on the podcast yet, there's a good chance to maybe ask the question about, have you seen any fashions change over the years in terms of entertainment at weddings?
Yeah, I think there was a Mumford & Sons era, wasn't
Oh,
it?
For
God.
sure.
I don't know if
I
that's
don't
fully
think that's died
ended.
yet.
Not quite yet.
Not
And I
quite
think
yet.
we're about to move into a country era.
Do you think really?
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah. I think like Country to Country is doing really well in the UK, but like Beyonce's just done an album, Post Malone, Taylor Swift is kind of country. Almost there's a lot of big players doing kind of country music at the moment. Like I feel like Chris Stapleton, Zach Brown, Luke Bryan, they're all becoming a little bit more of a household name in this country. And I see lots of people kind of asking for country covers because they do kind of really tie in with weddings and love. I feel like country music.
Yeah.
So I think we just kind of on that trend. But generally, it's just good music with like a little bit of a twist, isn't it?
It's hard, isn't it, to put, because modern music really comes and goes. Like it's not standing the test of time. So
I think so.
But yeah, delving into those different genres sounds good. John, what would you say is the best advice for someone that's going to hire a band, a musician for their wedding? What should they be looking out for?
I'll come back to what they should be looking out for, but I think the best advice would be to hire good people and trust them.
Yeah.
Don't try to micromanage too much.
Yeah.
I think
because you're hiring an expert, hopefully.
I think, like I was best man 3 times last year, and I was telling all my friends the same thing: hire good people and then just leave it to them. I feel like they really know what they're doing if you hire good people.
Yeah.
And I guess like
how do they know if it's good people?
I guess like in terms of where the little section that we do, people try to get involved with the set list. And I feel like saying to them, I didn't get it right the first 250 times. The chances of you getting it right on this one event is pretty slim. And there's more to it than just which songs do you like.
Yeah.
You can easily get that wrong. So I know people want to make their wedding like slightly different from everybody else's. And it will be. The people change the weddings.
Yeah. Yes.
We've done the same venue, the same set list, and the only thing that's changing is the people, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
And like, there's lots of different considerations in there, like keys and vibe and how you're going to link the 2 songs together and all that kind of stuff. And I think if you want the best out of your suppliers, hire them. You can definitely suggest things and kind of say your favorites, but generally just leave them do the best show they can possibly do.
Yeah,
We
agreed.
agree.
Yeah. I think every time someone changes a song in the set, it probably becomes just a little bit weaker.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, you know, let's go with Uptown Funk. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people bright side. Take that out, but you know that just because you personally don't like it, without fail, every time the crowd are going to go crazy for it. So do you?
Yeah, I always say that what you want the most is for your guests to be having a good time.
Exactly.
And I remember I really disliked Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
But at my own wedding, it was one of the highlights of the dance floor because everybody else
Loved
was having
it.
a good time, and that's all that mattered to me.
Exactly.
Way more than do I like this chorus.
Yeah, I asked about fashions. I feel like that has become something of late where people want to really micromanage music. Sometimes I wonder whether there's been a blog somewhere that people are reading.
Triggers like
because, but I think that's really, really good advice.
Solid
advice.
Like sometimes people like to choose the first ends and they like to choose the upbeat song that comes after it. Mm-hmm. I noticed that becoming a bit of a trend, and I think nobody knows which song is going to engage them people better than us. Because different bands will do better at different types of songs. Like if we got asked to do Uptown Funk straight after the first dance, it wouldn't be Uptown Funk. But of course, if you had someone like 24K, they do a really good job of that. So we need to pick something that like really plays our strengths.
Your strengths,
to come in straight after the first dance. I think that would be it, really. And then what to look out for, I think beware of a band that have made a good promo video but aren't actually a good band. How do you know? I'm not really sure.
It's hard, isn't it? Because anyone can make a good promo video, but
that's
it's all
definitely
the stuff.
Become a bit of a trend.
Yeah, and they don't last a week, and it's never the same people that you see in that promo video that are going to be there on the night.
Yeah.
I guess reviews.
If you can see them live, and just, I always kind of try and search for them on YouTube as well, because
Yeah.
you'll see stuff that other people have posted that hasn't been kind of quite as edited.
For you doing the busking, I suppose it's easy for you to be seen live, but our
then I got
bands
all my
don't
kind of covers and stuff
do
like that.
public gigs.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult
It
for
is
people
difficult,
to see
and
them live. It's all
people,
weddings.
People don't get much chance to see us live. I wouldn't invite people to a busk just in case it rains and we get moved on by the police or
Yeah,
something.
and you can't invite someone to someone's wedding, obviously.
And if
so
they come to an original show, it wouldn't really give them
A true
The same
it gives them an
vibe.
idea of your talents, but not
Yeah.
like the suitability for the
or at
evening.
wedding fairs, it's a very dry,
Noisy
awkward
kind of
environment, isn't it?
So it is difficult. I guess that's where you've got to be careful of. You just look for little signs, don't you?
yeah.
Are they really playing the guitar? You
Red
could hear?
flags.
We've been asking this question to wrap up, and not everyone likes it.
Okay.
Can you describe your business in one sentence?
He is his business.
Yeah, it's a funny one,
John
isn't it? For you,
Adams.
especially, it's a tough one.
Westlife.
Yeah, Westlife and Wish.
Um,
I like Aberdare's answer to James Blunt. That's a pretty good one.
I had a review that said minimal production, maximum heart. And
Oh, I
quite
love
like
that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cracker.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cracker.
Thank you for joining us today, John. You've been
Yeah,
an
thanks for the
amazing
invite.
guest. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next
See
time.
you next time. Thanks, John. Brilliant.
Pleasure.
Bye.